All right, time to go on the docket with attorney John Patrick Dolan as he breaks down all your legal news.
So first, John, thank you so much for joining us today, the day
Indeed.
before Thanksgiving. Now, I want to ask you, there are new developments for O.J. Simpson. So what's the latest with him?
Well, some new lawyers went back to court in Nevada, and they said the prosecution had withheld evidence and that both the trial lawyer, Yale Galanter, and his appellate lawyers were incompetent, and therefore he should get a new trial. The judge considered all these arguments and said, motion denied. So they're going to go to the Nevada Supreme Court, the new lawyers, and see if they can't get some relief there. But frankly, I don't think there's much mileage in this. This is sort of the last-ditch effort when someone goes into court and says, my lawyer was incompetent, before you know, you're finished as far as your appellate rights. Now, I have to say, Michael Skakel was successful in this, if you remember, with Mickey Sherman, and he's just got a new trial granted. But the chances of getting a new trial granted because of ineffective assistance of counsel are probably 1 in 1,000, or maybe even worse than that. So it's not surprising that the judge denied O.J. Simpson's request.
So he's probably in jail for the long run.
Up until he's about 70 is what they project right now.
Very interesting. Let's move on to that bullying case in Florida where the girl ended up committing suicide.
Real frustrating. This is a sheriff who appears to be, and this is just my opinion, trying to, you know, make some political hay out of this thing. This sheriff arrested 2 girls that were juveniles, put their pictures on television, and called them little felons. Well, it turns out by the time this information gets taken to the district attorney's office, the district attorney says there's nothing here to file a criminal charge. So then the sheriff comes on television and says, well, this is what I wanted all along. I wanted the girls to go to counseling. It's really disturbing when law enforcement people get involved in doing things like this. Bullying is wrong and bad, but there's a time and a place for the criminal justice system, and trying to square kids away so that they're not bullying is probably not where the sheriff ought to be spending his time, again, in my opinion. There's just no crime here. It's awful that kids send dirty texts to each other, or insulting text or nasty text or whatever. But to suggest that somehow or other bad text trafficking causes someone to commit suicide is just causally just not related. And so that's what the district attorney determined down there, and I'm sure this sheriff will go on and use this for his future political campaigns. We're hearing a lot about bullying, and we see that kids are getting, you know, aggravated and annoyed and insulted on a regular basis in school. And frankly, that's probably been going on since kids were going to school, but it seems to be at the top of the mind now. So kids should be advised by their parents and their teachers this is not a good thing to do, but it doesn't really move into the criminal realm unless the bullying becomes actual assaultive behavior, and it just wasn't that in this case. And these poor girls now have to live with the fact that their name has been plastered all over television, and they've been called felons when they were never charged with anything.
Thank you for that perspective.
Indeed.
Thank you so much for joining us today, John. Have a great Thanksgiving tomorrow. And if you want to get a hold of John Patrick Dolan, just go to dolanlawoffices.com.